This is DJ the Prodigy Pen, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
Hey, this is Cain Velasquez, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Chuck Liddell, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
Hi, he's Wanderlei the Ex-Murder Silver, and you listen Ringside Report Radio.
This is Tito Ortiz, the People's Champ, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Uriah Faber, the California Kid, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
This is Randy, the Natural Couture, and you're listening to the Ringside Report.
Hi, this is Vitor Belfort, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Chael Sonnen, and you are listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Georges St-Pierre, and welcome to Ringside Report Radio.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the program. It is Ringside Report Radio. I am Dave Simon. Fred Garcia is here. You can hear Anthony D'Alesio making noise over there. We're live here on TSN 690. Muscles Marco manning the phones here for us. Wearing his Packers hat. He's ready to pack the heat for Ringside Report Radio tonight. So that's why he's here, man. Muscles Marco, the bodyguard, the muscle, and also answering the phones. You can give us a call, 514-790-1690. 514-790-1690. If you're calling from out of town, you can at 1-866-896-2546. 1-866-896-2546. I gave that number to our boy out in Ireland, Wally, who said he's going to be giving us a call. It's like 5 a.m. out in Ireland, so we salute you, Wally. The dedication to Ringside Report Radio. He resurfaced after a few weeks away. He said
Where the heck was he?
Yeah, he said he was going to be like off social media. This is a big supporter of ours.
I couldn't understand that from Wally. Like, why? What happened?
It was some sort of internet deal. He didn't have the internet. But today, I was doing the Wrestling Uncensored pre-show, which you can check out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. And on the pre-show, Wally resurfaced. So it was really good to see him after several weeks away. We didn't know where Wally, one of our good friends out in Ireland, our Ringside Report Ireland crew, he disappeared.
I thought somebody was after him or something, McGregor or something. I think he's on
know.
McGregor's side, or was he? You never know. He insulted McGregor? I have no idea.
No, he's all right. Everything's fine. He was there. And speaking of our YouTube channel, Anthony, you and I will be live on YouTube tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. I got a surprise for you.
After UFC 225. What do you mean you have a surprise for me?
You'll see.
What is this? Don't bring anything weird to my house. There is a child there. There's a young boy there. You really need to check yourself. Don't do anything weird, okay?
Fred, I'll bring the KFC. That's
Fred,
what
should I be
more
worried?
KFC?
That's it, man.
Is that it?
Beaver tails?
Beaver tails? Hot?
Like, I didn't even know it was called beaver tails in English, so
what the heck
I learned something. I don't know. I know it's queue de castor in French, but I didn't know you. Like, I thought it was more of a...
Sounds a little dirty.
It's a perfect translation. Beaver tail, queue de castor. Muscles Marco, what's going on here? I see Muscles Marco in the background.
He's freaking out.
He's like trying to answer the phone. He put somebody on hold, but now they hung up. Marco, what's going on? Get your mic. What's going on?
We got so many calls.
I was just checking the phones, make sure they worked.
Did somebody call?
No, that was me just checking them out.
I see him like tinkering over there, and it's distracting. It's like, what is he doing over there?
He had that face of like being lost there. I don't know.
Guys, UFC 225 is the subject at hand. UFC 225 going down tomorrow night in Chicago, Illinois, and there's some title fights and so on and so forth. But the most important thing is my man Phillip Brooks, CM Punk, best in the world, will be fighting tomorrow night. Well, best in the world, when it comes to pro wrestling. In MMA, he's 0-1. He got smashed by Mickey Gall the first time out. But this time, he's taking on another guy who's 0-1, who also got smashed by Mickey Gall in his first time in the octagon. So I'm thinking maybe the punker has a chance. Fred put out his picks. Anthony put out his picks earlier today as well. You can follow him on Twitter at Danny Bruck for all his nonsense.
What?
You can follow me at Dave Simon MMA. And we put out our picks for the main card. Fred and I on opposite sides here with the CM Punk thing. Anthony, you're with me, though. You're with the punker. You think CM Punk is going to beat Michael Jackson tomorrow night.
That's right.
Why?
Why? I mean, well, actually, Fred is with the Beaver. The Beaver and Fred are together. Me and Dave are together.
What Beaver? What are you talking about, the Beaver?
Well, if you go to Donnybrook, you'll see the Beaver. You'll get a good idea.
I did see that. There's
our mascot.
The Battling Beavers. What did you call it?
Barry the Beaver.
Barry the Beaver.
Why sure it's not an old beaver that's at your place?
I don't want to go there, Fred.
An old beaver.
Why do we have a mascot?
It's at midnight, this show.
Why do we have a mascot?
Because we need one.
And why is he a beaver?
We're Canadian, right? Eh?
Because you like beaver tails? Is that what's going on? You just...
I hope Wally understands that.
Because I saw you tag something like beaver tails, and I'm like,
yeah.
Are they at least giving you some food? And if they're giving you food, why ain't I getting some?
That's right.
It's all about marketing, man. I'm trying to do it.
Fred wants his beaver tails.
I'm sure he wants his beaver and his tails.
I don't know. Sure. I don't know what Anthony is talking about as far as the betting beaver that he has just made up in his mind. But Anthony, let's talk real life here. Let's talk CM Punk.
CM?
Somebody's gotta go. Usually it's about two guys that don't have a loss to their record, but this time it's about two winless guys.
But he's not that old, Fred. Come on.
Who? CM? I never. He is old, but
he didn't say anything about age.
I heard old.
I said someone's gotta go.
Oh, yes. Someone old. Okay,
that's right.
I thought someone old.
The zero. Go. You know the big zero in front of their record because both of them are.
Their win column.
Exactly. They're both 0-1.
That's right. They're 2-0-1
Somebody
fighters.
needs to have a win on their record.
Unless it's a draw or no contest of some sort.
And first time we see that in the UFC, I guess.
No, for sure. And first time that you see them both losing to the same guy as well, right?
This is the first time that we've seen this. We've also it's definitely the first time, to Fred's point, that we've seen two 0-1 fighters fighting, I'd say, in the UFC.
On the main card.
I don't think I've ever seen two 0-1 fighters in the UFC, maybe ever. I'm not even talking about...
We've seen some 0-0 with James Toney. Who else?
Okay.
Like, other guys, I think, might have done like CM Punk when he had his debut.
But that was one guy. Have we ever seen two 0-1 fighters ever fight each other in the UFC? You would think that an 0-1 fighter doesn't really belong in the UFC, but here we go. CM Punk and Mike Jackson, who apparently, I think he's like a MMA journalist too on the side, right? Which, Anthony.
Right.
I mean, this is your call right here.
Well,
if Mike Jackson gets past CM Punk, or even if he doesn't, you're also an MMA journalist, and I would say you're probably a more accomplished martial artist than Mike Jackson.
So I fight CM Punk? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you fight
should.
You fight CM Punk?
I could, technically.
CM Punk or Mike Jackson.
We're both old guys, yeah, for sure.
Punk
is
not that
old.
old.
Whoop his ass. I'm sure you would.
CM Punk? Yeah, grappling for sure.
Punk is only 39 years old. He's not that old.
No, he's not. And I'm not sure how old Mike
he is
Jackson
a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, and you're a brown belt, so you would think maybe you'd beat him. But
of course.
You never know. You never know what might happen.
Yeah, easy day for sure. He's going down, Punk.
Easy,
Dave. Don't let me get the beaver after you. But
what the?
You know what? Look, honestly, like they both lost to Mickey Gall.
That's right.
And one thing that why I'm going on CM's side is because actually Mickey Gall himself said, if I got to choose anybody, because I fought both of these guys, I'm going with CM Punk for the win. So Gall has chosen Punk, and I think Punk has a lot more, I guess, to win and lose. I mean, he's fighting in his hometown of Chicago. And he has to really win this. And to be honest, I gave the victory for Punk by submission. I think Mike Jackson, if he's not, I think he's like a 4-0 boxing record or whatnot. So he's definitely a stand-up guy. But if it's going to the ground, for sure, CM Punk is going to take this one.
Wow. That's some good analysis on a CM Punk fight. I think it's really hard to analyze this fight because we don't really know very much about CM Punk's skill set other than what we saw against Mickey Gall, which was one really bad punch thrown, a takedown, and then Punk just getting beaten very quickly. So it's hard to know what CM Punk is going to do. I'm rooting for him. I don't know if I can say he's definitely going to win. It is a coin toss as far as I'm concerned. I like CM Punk. I'm a pro wrestling fan. I want to see him do well. I'm a fan of the guy, and I want to see him have success. But I'm worried for him. I'm definitely worried. And at the same time, selfishly, as a wrestling fan, I think, worst case scenario, Punk loses, goes back to pro wrestling.
You think so?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Does he lose any of his cachet if he goes down quick again? doesn't look good?
I don't think so. And by the way, when I say Punk going back to pro wrestling, I'm not talking about the WWE. There's better pro wrestling out there than WWE, and there are opportunities outside of the WWE in pro wrestling for CM Punk right now. Maybe more now than in the past 10, 15 years.
Whoa, okay.
Is he under contract?
No.
Is he free? Yeah? Oh.
Yeah. Totally free agent when it comes to wrestling. He's gonna be doing an autograph signing during the All In weekend. The Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes are putting their own show together. They sold out a 10,000-seat arena in Chicago, and Punk is going to be part of that whole weekend doing an autograph signing, I think, the day before the show. And a lot of people think that Punk will be All In.
You know what? I'm just playing the role here of Bobby Heenan, and you're like my Gorilla Monsoon. And I know you love CM
Will you
Punk.
stop?
With that hairdo, he does look like a gorilla.
You love CM Punk, so I just gotta hate on him. But in the end, I wish him the best of luck. But I'm still gonna pull for Mike Jackson. I'm picking Mike Jackson to beat CM Punk, the jabroni.
Beat it, Fred.
Bobby Heenan called it.
Yeah, Fred is just a heel. He just doesn't want to see Punk win because he's a mean guy.
I'm just hating.
He just
you.
likes, he likes Michael Jackson.
I used to be a wrestling fan, still am, but unfortunately, I didn't live the CM Punk year. So you tell me CM Punk, and I'm looking at this guy. I'm going, I don't see nothing special. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
did you see the first promo, the pipe bomb he did to John Cena?
Nope.
You never saw that?
Nope. I know it ain't as good as putting the letter S in front of Hitman.
Ooh. Oh, that's.
He ain't no Steve Austin.
Ooh.
I don't know. He was pretty close.
He's
Punk
no
was
Rock.
really good. Punk was really good, Fred. I think you're stepping over the line here.
He's a ham and egger.
You don't know about CM Punk, Fred.
He's a chick magnet, apparently.
That's right. CM stands for chick magnet.
He's Philip.
He said that under oath.
Yeah. I don't hate you, John. I don't even dislike you. I do like you. I like you a hell of a lot more than I like most people in the back.
This is Punk talking to John Cena, the famous pipe bomb promo.
That you're the best.
June 27, 2011.
Because you're not. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world. Ooh. There's one thing you're better at than I am. And that's kissing Vince McMahon's ass.
Oh! CM Punk, he was fantastic. He was really great in
a lot
pro
of
wrestling.
arrogance. I remember his first fight against Mickey Gall. The walk out to the cage was excellent. He had some confidence. He looked like, oh, I'm gonna win this, and all of a sudden the bell rang and
but it was
reality
a terrible fight.
set in. All of a sudden he noticed, oh wait, Vince didn't script this. Oh, there's an issue here. Oh, I'm not really athletic, eh? Oh.
All right. We're gonna stop having you disparage the name of CM Punk, and a lot of people are talking trash about CM Punk. But Fred, I think you'd agree that a lot of guys that talk trash about him, Punk would beat them in a fight.
True.
And even you, Fred, I know you're training. You train very hard. You got a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, just like CM Punk, but you're not training MMA. He's probably a better.
Show me the money.
He's probably a better striker than you are.
Show me the money. Oh. I got the platform to promote it.
Fred,
come on, Dana.
I'll coach you, man. That's it. We'll get it on, man.
The millions and millions of our fans want it.
Fred versus Punk.
That'd be awesome.
You know what's going to be great is when I swerve everybody, I turn on Fred and hit him with the steel chair, joining CM Punk and winning everything at WrestleMania.
Oh, so it's a scripted fight.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
it's not real blood.
I don't want anybody
Fred doesn't lay
hurt.
down for nobody.
I'm trying to protect my man Punk, Fred. I don't want him anywhere near you, You're a dangerous man.
Hey, but you got to give Punk credit. I mean, most guys, which we've seen, when they've got a beating like he did in his first professional fight with the name that he's had, here he is again, fighting again. So you got to give CM Punk a lot of credit. His ego didn't get in his way. He continued back in the gym and trained. I understand there was someone that called me jabroni once and said, yeah, about his wrestling. But I'm sure if that
Who
guy...
called you a jabroni? Somebody called you a jabroni?
You remember
I'm going to call you Jim Ross right now because you're trying to bring a little too much positivity.
What are you
here.
talking about?
You're trying to promote this CM Punk. You're
I'm
right.
not-
You brought some good points.
No, give him a break. You know what? He's
living a
fighting
dream and he's going ahead with it.
Hey,
So
you know
props
what?
to him.
Props to him, man. And you know what? He has a lot to lose. He's fighting in his hometown crowd. He wants to win big, even if he loses. I always said this to every fighter: if you're going to lose good. You have to look good losing, and people remember that.
Yeah, well,
like Clay Guida.
He did not.
Guida's a good example.
He did not look good losing last time, and hopefully,
He didn't.
even if he does lose tomorrow night, he looks a little bit better doing it than he did the last time.
But Dave, do you think that was probably not the best fight to take against Mickey Gall?
Sure, but you
know,
he had to fight someone.
Yeah, but it was the wrong one to fight.
Who does he fight? I mean, the guy doesn't have any experience. He's in the UFC.
That's it. He's in the UFC.
He's in the UFC because he's a name.
That's right.
He would need to fight somebody like, I don't know, Joe Rogan or some other
Actually, somebody did challenge
celebrity.
Joe Rogan this week or something. I think it was
No, Colby Covington just says mean things about Joe Rogan. He actually apologized for it. I want to talk about those fights. Those are the real fights on this card. You know, the CM Punk fight, it's an attraction. I'm excited about it because I'm a wrestling fan. By the way, Wrestling Uncensored tomorrow night here on TSN 690. Tomorrow at midnight, myself and Johnny North talking everything professional wrestling, including WWE Money in the Bank and the terrible episode of Raw that we had this week.
Is Johnny going to be there tomorrow?
I don't think so.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah.
What, he's not a big enough CM Punk fan?
Nah, he's just not a big enough MMA fan. Johnny's got other things to do. And I think it's too late for Johnny North.
Is he picking Punk at least? Or he doesn't care?
To win? I don't know. I think
he's not as big a fan as you, I think, as Punk.
No, he likes Punk, but he's not as big a fan as I am. I'm a bigger fan than Johnny North is of CM Punk.
See, I kind of respect Johnny North's wrestling opinion, so I'm happy to hear that.
You should get him on air. If he's listening, he should call in.
Yeah, well, maybe Johnny North will be on the show next week.
Oh, cool, man.
We'll see. We'll see what we can work out. If Johnny agrees, he'll be replacing Fred next week because Fred has to go.
We got to make the space bigger for him.
Fred's going fishing next week, so maybe we have Johnny in next week.
So he says.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah,
that is Fred's claim.
Show us the
Ontario
pictures,
fishing trip. There will be a lot of
Speaking of pictures of Fred, there's a great picture of Fred going on Twitter right now. Fred, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a picture of you on Twitter right now, and it is just awesome. You look fantastic. I retweeted it. Dan E. Bruck on Twitter, our boy AJ over there, he took it. And you can follow me at Dave Simon MMA. I retweeted it. It's excellent.
I'm buff and I'm the stuff.
You definitely look it. I'll tell you. Jiu-jitsu does work.
Of course, jiu-jitsu works.
Except for Anthony Bourdain, unfortunately. Today is
well, it's very sad.
Yeah, a very sad day.
You want to hear from Dana White on Anthony Bourdain?
Yeah, I'd love to.
This is Dana White talking about Anthony Bourdain, who unfortunately, he killed himself, died by suicide. I don't know how to say it. Death by suicide?
Death by suicide?
Committed suicide? I don't know. Yeah, we got a
Literally, I woke up this morning and I saw it.
This is Dana White on Anthony Bourdain.
Literally, I woke up this morning and I saw it, a text. Somebody had texted me that he died, and I was just like, oh, my God. That's, I'm friends with David Spade, too. So, that was 3 days ago. And, it's crazy. It's sad. He's a super nice guy. And, anything we ever asked of him, he was gracious enough to do. The guy was on top of the world, man. Everything that guy touched was successful, from, being a chef to writing a book to being on TV. Every different show he has is a hit. He had everything in life. And I don't know, man. It sucks. He was a great guy.
Very sad, the passing of Anthony Bourdain. I saw him at a UFC show in Toronto.
Yep.
And he was a great supporter of MMA, of UFC, and of jiu-jitsu. He was a competitive jiu-jitsu guy.
Gold medalist.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, in New York, 2016, he won gold.
Yeah.
It's a big shock to the
Very
BJJ
sad.
community, and I think Renzo Gracie took it really hard and put out a tweet himself, and he's shocked.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of his TV show No Reservations. I didn't watch the CNN one so much, but it was good. I watched it from time to time. He was really good, man. He made me want to eat things that I would never eat.
Really?
Yeah, like he would eat everything. And I'm a little more picky with my food, but this guy, he would eat all sorts of weird exotic stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, he makes it look good. He seems to enjoy it so much. Sad news today.
Just like my weird exotic stuff I'll bring tomorrow night.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say on this situation is, if you know anybody that has bad thoughts in their head, don't ignore them. Just try to help them. Try to call somebody,
have
some
them
helpline.
Get help. Yeah,
exactly. There's resources out there. Just don't ignore the problem, because that won't help it.
No. There's always tomorrow. Exactly.
For sure. So very sad, and we're going to hear a little bit more from Dana White later. He spoke about GSP potentially moving down to 155 pounds, and we'll hear about that in a bit. But right now, I think we're going to take a phone call. Who do we have here, Marco? What's going on? Marco, you're over there. Yeah. You got a microphone. I'm asking you a question.
He doesn't know. I think you're taking a chance here.
So we have somebody on the phone, but you didn't ask who it was?
Is it my mom? Who is it?
You couldn't hear it?
No.
So is there somebody on the phone?
Yes, there is.
But you don't know if it's...
It's CM Punk.
Yeah.
All right. Punk, you're on the line. Hello?
Top of the morning, lads.
Oh, yeah. What's up? It's Wally out in Ireland. Wally, how you doing, man?
Indeed, guys. It is indeed. I'm here holding a cup of coffee, and I'm ready for the show.
Well, the show's halfway over, man.
I know. I was dialing in, and I was dialing in with the wrong area code. And kept on saying, "You can't get through. Goodbye." Eventually, I found it. If it was probably earlier in the night, I probably would have found it a lot sooner. But I've been listening in, and great show so far.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, man. We're happy to hear from you. Happy to see you back. I know you disappeared on social media, and then you reappeared. You had an internet deal. What happened, man? Where were you?
Yeah, I've no access to the internet for a couple of weeks. I'm in between moving, so I knew I was going to be offline, so I thought I'd give everyone a heads up.
Yeah.
But all the internet things sorted. I listened to 2 episodes of Ringside Report today, 2 episodes of Wrestling Uncensored.
Wow.
So my employers are basically paying me money to listen to you guys.
What? That's awesome.
That's how it should be.
That's the way you do it.
It should be.
That's exactly the way it should be. We appreciate that. Wally, what do you think about Punk tomorrow night? You think he's got a chance?
He definitely has a chance. I mean, this is probably the only fight that he probably would have a chance in. I think if he does go on to win this fight, I mean, I just don't think there's anyone else in the roster that he could beat. If you're looking down through anyone, any division even above him, any division below him, I think this is just a one-off fight that if he wins it, if I were him, I would just take it as a great night in his career, but I wouldn't continue fighting.
Yeah, you wouldn't continue even if he wins?
Yeah, I just think he could go right off into the distance like a legend, get a win under his belt.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's anyone else in the roster that he's going to have a chance against. It's just going to be another Mickey Gall night if he does continue to fight on. I think Jackson is a chance. If it stays with his feet, he might have a chance. We haven't seen what he's like on his feet. We've only seen what he's like when he took it to the ground.
Yeah.
He has another year experience. Who knows?
Yeah, Wally's onto something.
That's a solid point. If he wins this fight, even if he wins,
he would have
what's next?
He would have to be super impressive for people to want another fight. If he wins, his fans are going to be happy. But, I mean, he would have to be really impressive in his win for people to say, yeah, we need more CM Punk fights.
Yeah, but then it's a 1-1 at that point. Wouldn't you want to see him leave with the record?
Well, man, you leave with a victory. Maybe you quit while you're ahead type of thing. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's a famous cricket player over in the UK called Freddie Flintoff. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but he took a professional.
Definitely not. We definitely have not seen him.
You should look it up. There's a really good documentary called Lord of the Ring. Okay, and he comes to professional boxers to see how he could do.
Okay,
and you see him going through all the emotions and stuff and going through the fight. And when he actually gets the professional fight, he wins. He gets knocked down in the first round, but he goes on to win the fight. But straight after, he just says, "Look, that's it for me. I just wanted to see you. Could I fight? I did. I won." And he went off, and he's having a great life. I think Punk should do something like that. Try and get in there. Try and get a victory. Do it for yourself. Continue training. I mean, martial arts is a lifestyle choice. Do you know what I mean? Keep doing that. But I just don't think there's anyone else out there in the UFC that he's going to stand a chance against.
Did the cricket guy go back to cricket after he boxed?
The cricket guy.
No, he didn't. He's now a TV personality. He's on everything. No matter what the show is,
really?
dating shows, presenting shows. Yeah, he's kind of like a character now. And he's more like, he's a presenter now more than anything else. He'd retired from cricket, but he wanted to give it a go.
We should get him on the show.
I don't think we could get him on the show, Anthony.
Wally, try to get him on their show here.
I think he's too famous. I think he's really famous. He's big in Ireland, right? He's a big deal.
So what? We're Ringside Report in Canada. Of course we're a big deal here.
I'll just tell him AJ was looking for him. And I'm sure
that's it. Well, you got such a cool accent. It's awesome.
AJ, you've got such a cool accent.
McGregor,
hey, McGregor. Hey, Wally, I wanted to ask you, how's the MMA scene, like the local MMA scene down in your area?
MMA MMA in Ireland is kind of a strange one. Like, when Conor McGregor is around, everyone's kind of buzzing about it, everyone's talking about it, and then there's a couple of weirdos like me that stay up till 5 a.m. watching it.
Nothing strange about that.
People to be... Yeah, like I'd be saying to people in work, oh, big UFC card this weekend, and one or two people go, oh yeah, Romero's fighting, and I'll be like, yeah, and the rest of them are kind of like, there's no MMA this weekend. McGregor hasn't fought in ages. He thinks most people in this country think that if Conor McGregor isn't fighting, there isn't fights on.
People are the same here with GSP. I mean, it's just not the same. You know, when GSP's fighting, the whole city is like, oh, yeah, MMA, UFC, we love it. And if GSP's not fighting, it's like, who are these guys?
Yeah, the buzz for UFC 225 in this city is virtually non-existent right now.
That's why we got
hardcore fans like us.
But that's why we got to get GSP to fight McGregor. That would be awesome.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
The thing is, there should be more of a buzz around this card, because if you look like even down to the early prelims, like with Rashad Evans and all on them, and Clay Guida. I mean, like, if they're in Europe, if any of the fights nearly on this card are taking place in Europe, they're main eventing it.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
true.
It's crazy. Like, we are kind of starved of good cards over here. Like, the last really, really good main event over here was nearly back when Dan Henderson fought over here. We don't really get good cards.
Yeah,
it's like anymore. It's kind of, we just get a lot of them kind of getting local guys. You get local guys to get fighting on the cards, but we don't get like an international kind of card where there's like fighters from all over the world fighting. It's just kind of the local guys when they have UFC cards over here.
But I'm surprised, Wally, because I remember when McGregor was fighting in Las Vegas, I think a half of Ireland came down just for the weigh-ins. I think there was close to 30,000 people to watch this guy weigh in. That's why I'm kind of surprised why Dana White doesn't have like a big show in Ireland, because I understand what you're saying, like the local scene, maybe they're not too current on what's happening like now. But if you get a big show in Ireland, I think it'll really push Irish MMA.
But here's the problem, Anthony, is the time difference, because right now it is 5:30 in the morning in Ireland. And if you're going to do a big show that you want a lot of people on, it's going to have to take place at 10, like the pay-per-view has to be like the pay-per-view tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time, which means that it starts in Ireland at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is tough to do.
Yeah.
And Wally, you've been to one of these shows, right? Like, weren't you at a show in England one time that was at like 2, 3 in the morning?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. I was at Henderson against Bisping at 3 in the morning, and it was kind of surreal. It was like the event started at 10 o'clock, and I was kind of thinking, like, this is... I kind of run on Vegas time when it comes to the weekend. So it's either WWE or UFC that's on, so I'm kind of living on Vegas time.
Yeah.
So I was okay, but half the arena were kind of like, what's going on here?
And how did the general public react to that? Like, because I would think it's insulting for the local fans.
I think it was kind of... I think people kind of embraced it. It was actually one of the best atmospheres I've ever been at UFC. I've been to Vegas to see a few, and I've been to ones here in Ireland, and I have to say it was one of the best because people kind of needed to be to keep yourself awake. Everyone had to kind of be up for it. It was a really good card as well. I think there was something like 9 knockouts on the card that night, a submission. I think only one went the distance. So it was the kind of card that did lift us. Everyone kind of gave it their all, but it's something I think that everyone has to do at some stage in their life, is go to an overnight card, because it does feel really different. And beer was served in the arena up until like 5, 6 a.m, so right up until the main event, they still had a beer license, so everyone was drinking, and it's like a party, really, like this show here. It was like a party, 5 a.m, but it's party time.
Yeah, well, that is pretty crazy, and maybe we'll have it one day here, although it's highly unlikely. I think we'd have to travel over there to experience that type of deal. Wally, it's always great hearing you, man. It's always great to know that you're checking in and you're listening all the way out there in Ireland. And, hey, just think, in 2.5 hours, it's New Japan Dominion. So just stay up, all night and get ready for Chris Jericho and Naito.
Exactly. Chris Jericho, I can't wait for that. It's going to be brilliant. Hopefully, he does another Cuts promo. I look forward to that.
That's right, Swearico. Thanks, Wally. It's always good talking to you,
Love
man.
you, Wally.
Great to speak to you guys.
There he is.
Cheers, brother.
Wally, out in Ireland. Legitimately in Ireland. That's for real. That's
I wanted to speak Gaelic to Wally.
Do you speak? Maybe the next time we'll see. We'll test out your Gaelic, okay?
100%. Hands down.
Hands down.
For an Italian guy.
Keep your hands down, all right? Let's take a short pause here. We got to get to Yoel Romero and Robert Whittaker. Is it a title fight? Is it not a title fight? It's like half a title fight. We'll explain why. We'll also give you our predictions for the rest of UFC 225 Ringside Report Radio live here on TSN 690.
Hey, this is Cain Velasquez, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio. Hi, this is Sanders at Borlovsky, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
This is Tyron Woodley, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio.
Welcome back. It's Ringside Report Radio. I'm Dave Simon. Fred Garcia's here. Anthony D'Alesio is here. UFC 225 going down tomorrow night. Muscles Marco is here as well. Man in the phones. Trying to deal with the phones. He's doing all right. We had our boy Wally out in Ireland checking in. Anthony's standing up. Sit down. What are you doing?
My legs.
What about your... What? If you're going to stand up, you got to move your microphone as well. You can't just...
but my legs were getting like numb sitting on this chair.
So
that's an excuse to be terrible?
Yeah. There's no excuse to be terrible,
I was doing
Anthony.
my little warm-up there. I'm back.
You should have been back before.
Back in black.
You're slipping. Okay, so Yoel Romero today did not make weight. He hit 185.2 pounds. He needed to hit 185 on the nose for this title fight, so it is not a title fight for Yoel Romero. This is the second fight in a row where this has happened for him. He beat Luke Rockhold February 11th of this year. It was originally supposed to be for an interim UFC middleweight title, but Romero weighed 187.7 on that night and still fought, but it wasn't for a title. So Yoel, in his last fight, couldn't make 185, not even 186. Yet they still gave him a title shot, which I don't think they should have done. And now Yoel weighs 185.2. I understand there's a lack of challengers at 185 pounds, and Yoel Whittaker was the fight to make, as sad as that is. But I don't think you should put a guy in a title fight who didn't make weight in his last fight.
That makes sense. I mean, look, you miss weight. That's a lack of professionalism. And there's been a lot of talk lately. There's been the Mackenzie Dern situation. There's been other situations where people miss weight. Darren Till. I mean, look, you got to make weight. I think the only solution to the problem is for the UFC to not give title shots to guys that just missed weight. I mean, there has to be repercussion. There has to be something.
I saw some stat where it was like 6-1 or 7-1, 8-2, some deal like that, where the fighter who missed weight usually wins. Like fighters who miss weight and then still go on and fight, they're like 8-1 or 7-1 or something like that in the UFC. Like, it's happening too much, and it is playing an advantage, it seems, to some of these fighters who aren't making weight. At the same time, Yoel Romero didn't look like he had any kind of advantage. Yoel Romero, if you saw the video that was going around today, he looked depleted. He looked
horrible,
done. He didn't look like he was ready to fight tomorrow. But that's what he's got to will his body into doing. So
I mean, it's terrible. I mean, he looked horrible. He was like wincing. He was like,
and they're changing the way they're changing the way they do weigh-ins as well. They changed it. It used to be at like 4 p.m. they'd have the weigh-in. Now it's just a ceremonial weigh-in because the real weigh-ins are like 10 in the morning. But Dana White says that they're going back to the old way that they did the weigh-ins. Here's Dana White.
Can't happen fast enough. Yes, we are moving toward the old weigh-in system. It's going to happen. You know, there's a couple of people out there that say no, but the majority of the fighters want to go back to 4 o'clock.
There it is.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a controversy on that as well. I mean,
I'm with Dana with this one, okay? Look, moving the time up, only thing that it did was add more hours between the weigh-in and the fight, which helps people regain their weight. Right. So basically, you're giving them more time to recuperate, which if in my head I'm saying, well, I only have 12 hours to recuperate, I'm going to cut this amount. Oh, now I have 20 hours? Well, I'm not going to cut less weight. I'm probably going to cut more weight because you're giving me more time to recuperate. So I don't think giving more time works. I think also GSP, when he fought Michael Bisping, said pretty much the same thing.
And also, if you have to hit a certain weight by 10 a.m., you have to start cutting weight at like 5, 6 in the morning.
Another issue, yeah.
Right. It's rough. It's not fun.
But I'll tell you what I heard this week that I liked. It was Angela Hill who said, why not give the whole day where you give from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.? And I wouldn't disagree with that type of
Dana White
situation.
said you couldn't get the commission to hang around and be there for that whole time for that to even take place. He said you can't get the commission to come more than once. They'll be there for one weigh-in, and that's it.
Maybe you have to pay them more. I don't know. There has to be solutions. Maybe it costs a little bit of money where you need to have people on the place, ready to weigh in fighters for 6 hours instead of just one. I mean, look.
That's what they do at the BJJ competitions. You're like within certain amount of hours. Usually it's like 5-6 hours. That you have a chance to get on the scale. You're allowed to get on the scale twice. So you go the first time. If you don't make weight, at least you know that you try to make weight. It could be 3-4 hours later. Once you get on that scale, the second time, that's the official time. But, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Fred. But I've seen tweets and whatnot. I can say one in particular, Elias Theodorou, the Spartan. He was like on the other side saying, listen, it's not fair for guys that actually make weight. Why should we give like all this like extra time for guys that are not taking it serious? So, I mean, I don't know.
I think whether the weigh-in is at 10 a.m. or at 4 p.m., guys are going to try to push the limit. Now, I go back to what I just said is if you give them more hours to recuperate, of course they're going to push the limit more.
Yeah. I think it's difficult. I think maybe You make it more difficult to cut huge amounts of weight. You regulate the weight divisions a little bit. I don't know. It's tough, but we have a fight card to get to. Yoel and Whittaker are still going to fight. This fight is still happening. Whittaker is the middleweight champion of the world. If Yoel wins, he is not the champion. But could you imagine if Yoel wins? And then what? You just saw your champion get beat. It's very similar to when Anderson Silva fought Travis Lutter. Mm-hmm. Lutter didn't make weight, and it wasn't a title fight then. It was just a catch weight fight that was scheduled for 5 rounds that Anderson won, but had he lost, the UFC would have been in a weird position where Lutter was not the champion, but still beat the champion, and Romero's in that spot too. And Dana White talked about that predicament and said that if Yoel were to win, he would probably go up to 205 in his next fight and challenge for like an interim title there, because it seems like with DC fighting Stipe in the summer, they might be looking to make an interim light heavyweight championship, because DC is going to challenge for the heavyweight title against Stipe at the next UFC pay-per-view, by the way. That's UFC 226 in July.
Look, if I'm Yoel, 39, I think he is.
Yeah,
I would consider moving up a weight class because the weight cut every time is hard on the body.
But he was so close, Fred. He was at,
yeah, but look at what he looked like also.
No, he looked horrible.
And also, I mean, just look at Yoel Romero. That guy's not a middleweight. I mean, look at the freak of nature he is physically. That's not the body of a middleweight. He's cut it. And also, he comes from an Olympic background, Olympic wrestling and all that. So, yeah, exactly. So he knows how to cut weight. He's from a wrestling background, but at some point, he's just pushing it too far. I would believe for his own health, his career, move to 205. Hey, maybe it gives him a boost into the cardio department, which is something he's been lacking. And I'd love to see him fight guys at 205. There's some interesting matchups for him there.
I agree. I think that if Yoel can't make weight for 2 straight title fights, something's got to change, something's got to give. And I'm hoping that Whittaker wins this fight just so that we can have a clear, clean-cut middleweight champion, because Yoel did make 185.2, so it's 0.2 of a pound away from being a middleweight title fight. So if Yoel does win, it's hard to look at Whittaker as that undisputed true middleweight champion. So just for clarity's sake, just so we can figure out who the number one guy in the division really is, it would be good if Whittaker won the fight.
I'm changing my pick, by the way. I'm going with Whittaker. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going with Whittaker, probably by, maybe he finishes him this time. If Yoel doesn't have the cardio to go all the 5 rounds. So I got Whittaker by TKO tomorrow.
Whittaker is the favorite right now, minus 260. Whittaker's last fight was last July when he beat Yoel Romero by unanimous decision. Romero fought once in between, beat Rockhold, and now finds himself again fighting Robert Whittaker. This is a year difference. I think Whittaker has probably improved more in the past year than Yoel has, just based on age, and you figure the potential.
He's had injuries, though. Let's not forget. He was supposed to fight Rockhold, and it got canceled.
I still think, Whittaker fought him last year, won a decision. It seemed quite obvious that Whittaker won that fight. It wasn't like a controversial decision in any way. Whittaker beat him last year. I think he's going to do it again tomorrow night. The RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos against Colby Covington fight for a welterweight interim championship. That one's a little less clear to me. I'm not that sure who's going to win. I don't want Colby Covington to win because he's really annoying. He's really just irritating. All the things that he says, just ridiculous. I don't enjoy the gimmick. It doesn't feel authentic in any way. It just seems like a guy desperate to get attention, and he's doing whatever he has to do. I think Rafael Dos Anjos is the toughest test of his life. Dos Anjos is a former lightweight champion, but he's been fighting for a while. He's 3 years older than Colby Covington. He's got more fights on his record, more miles on that engine, and I wonder if that will play a factor here. Covington has looked really good as of late. He's won 5 straight in the UFC, beat Damian Maia by unanimous decision in October of 2017 in his last fight. But he was submitted by Warlley Alves back in December 2015. So he's not undefeated, although he does have a really good record of 13-1. This is a tough fight, man. I think RDA is a better all-around fighter than Covington, but Covington's wrestling and strength and athleticism.
I'll say size also.
Yeah, I think that too. I think those factors could lead to... Sorry, I lost it there. It's Covington. He upsets me so much.
Stay away from the light.
I think that all these advantages could lead to Covington winning. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going also with Colby. At the face-off, whether it was at the press conference, at the weigh-in, I looked at Covington and I could see a significant size advantage, which I think is going to be important because RDA is the type of guy that needs to grind you. I don't see RDA as a one-punch knockout. He needs to be winning all these exchanges and all that.
But
he's got heavier hands, Fred.
And he beat Robbie Lawler in his last fight. He
Look,
beat ruthless Robbie Lawler, who is roughly the same size as Colby Covington, and I got to figure a way tougher fight. And RDA really dominated Robbie Lawler over 25 minutes. Colby Covington has never done anything like that.
No.
RDA has accomplished some things that Covington has never come close to. So,
look,
I got to go with RDA based on his track record. That's why I'm picking him to win.
No, you know what? I agree with you. RDA is my choice as well. Third-degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. The thing is that Colby's a Division I wrestler. I mean, he's got the wrestling skills, but he doesn't have what it takes to keep RDA down.
I think RDA striking is way better than Colby's.
He has heavier hands, for sure.
Yeah.
He's, like you said, he's a better all-around fighter.
I think technically he's a better striker. But the wrestling could play a factor, and the strength and size. And, he may be able to keep RDA down for 5 rounds. It's possible.
I don't think it's going to be that way. I think there's going to be a TKO involved.
Colby's going to continue his party after the fight.
Odds makers right now
He's in good company.
They're going with Colby and Fred. Minus 140 right now. Colby is the favorite. Rafael Dos Anjos plus 110. Whittaker favorite in his fight against Yoel plus 200. Holly Holm is the favorite against Megan Anderson, minus 175. Anderson plus 145. I figure the winner of this fight maybe gets Cyborg, although there's been talk of Cyborg against Amanda Nunes. I think the winner of this fight is in a really good spot, at least in the UFC women's featherweight division. I like Holly Holm to win this fight.
I'm going Megan Anderson. I'm changing my mind also. I had Holm in the pick, but
why are you switching up?
Because I mean, you guys asked me to make picks when I just woke up. What type of deal is that? Like,
well, you can take your time, and I mean,
my mind's clouded in the morning.
You and the beaver, man.
Only in the morning?
Pretty much always, but it clears up by
but
this
you know
time.
what? I almost agree with Fred on this too. I mean, I went with Holly Holm, but after looking at the weigh-in and whatnot, I mean, she is just a bigger woman. I mean, she comes from a really
AJ agrees with me.
Well, I don't. I went with Holly Holm with the pick, so I'm gonna have to stick with that.
I can't. No, I just heard you. You said Megan Anderson. That's what he said.
I said Megan Anderson from the weigh-ins, but
I'm pulling an Anthony right now.
The AJ switch.
I've got Holly Holm. How about Andrei Arlovsky against Tai Tuivasa? Arlovsky has won 2 straight. He beat Stefan Struve back in March. Tuivasa is undefeated. This is a big test for him. He's never fought anyone to the level of an Andrei Arlovsky. He beat Cyril Asker in his last fight. But Tuivasa, all 7 wins by knockout in the first round, including 2 of those wins in the UFC. This guy is a big, young Australian prospect, 25 years old, big, strong guy. I think he's going to hit Arlovsky's chin, and Andrei's going to go down.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he's got amazing jabs. He's got a really mean hook. And unfortunately, Arlovsky's chin is like showing wear and tear. And I think, if this is not his last fight, it's coming to the end.
Tuivasa is the favorite in this too.
For sure.
Minus 230, Arlovsky plus 180.
Yeah, it makes sense.
How about Alistair Over? Fred, what do you like? Tuivasa?
Yeah, Tuivasa.
Yeah.
You got the Reem or Curtis Blades?
The Reem.
That's a good fight.
He looked good, actually, at the weigh-ins. Better than he has in, like, a long time.
Come on, he's a veteran. He's more skilled than Curtis Blades.
But Curtis Blades, I think his wrestling is going to stop Overeem. I think Blades is going to take him down over and over again and win a decision.
Interesting. I see this fight standing up and Reem hitting his shots.
Blades is 9-1. The only guy that's beat him is Francis Ngannou, and he beat Mark Hunt in his last fight pretty much the way I described how he's going to beat Alistair Overeem, taking him down over and over again, and Mark Hunt wasn't able to get his shots, and I think Overeem's going to have the same type of struggles. I'm going with Curtis Blades for the win over the Reem. The Reem right now is the underdog in the fight, plus 150. Over Curtis Blades, minus 185. Fred takes the Reem. I got Blades. AJ, who do you got?
I'm going with Overeem on this. Even though I know Blades has like one strong chin, he can take a lot of punches, but I think Overeem is going to take this with the experience.
Some good fights on this card. We've got Carla Esparza taking on Claudia Gadelha.
That's a nice one, too.
Gadelha.
Yeah, I got Gadelha, too. She's a big favorite, minus 450.
Yeah.
Mirsad Bektic takes on Ricardo Lamas.
That's going to be a good fight.
Bektic is a favorite, minus 250. Chris De La Rocha against Rashad Coulter, a heavyweight fight on the prelim card. Rashad Evans, former UFC light heavyweight champion, is on the Fight Pass prelims. He's going to be fighting around 7 o'clock tomorrow on Fight Pass. He takes on Anthony Smith.
He's back at light heavyweight.
Is he here? Yeah.
Is this his return?
This is a light heavyweight fight. Smith is the big favorite in this fight. He's coming off a loss to Thiago Santos, but Rashad Evans has not won since 2013. He's lost 4 straight, including decision wins to Daniel Kelly and Sam Alvey in his past couple fights. It's hard to pick Rashad to win a fight these days. He's just struggling.
Yeah.
And the odds makers don't like Rashad. Joseph Benavidez and Sergio Pettis, that's a great fight at flyweight. 2 top 5 guys, potential title contenders for Demetrius Johnson. Benavidez is the favorite in this one, minus 225. I agree with that.
Yeah, I got Benavidez and I got Charles Oliveira in a great fight against Clay Guida.
Yeah, I got Guida in that fight. AJ, who do you have in the Benavidez fight?
I got Benavidez as well, and Guida I'm going as well. I was thinking that the Benavidez-Pettis fight should have been on the prelims as opposed to the early prelims.
What's the difference?
Yeah,
I like that every card, like the Fight Pass prelims, the TSN prelims, and then the UFC pay-per-view.
It's awesome.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I want to leave you with some audio here tonight that may be shocking.
Oh.
This is Dana White today talking about Georges St-Pierre potentially fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov or Conor McGregor.
He just fought at 185 pounds and didn't defend the title. So what I'm going to have him fight down there? First of all, I don't even know if he can make the weight, number one, 85, 55. And what has he done in that division to deserve a fight with either one of those guys?
I mean,
the answer is nothing. He's retired.
Him and Conor would be the biggest fight ever, and it would take 20 years for something to eclipse it. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't. I think Khabib is a massive fight with Conor. I think that's the fight to happen right now. Listen, if Georges St-Pierre wants to move to 155, prove he can make it, and fight the number one contender down there, then absolutely I'd do it.
So there it is. Dana doesn't seem that into the idea of Conor versus George, even going further to say that George would have to have a tester fight at 155 before even considering having him fight Conor or Khabib. Sounds like Nate Diaz is who he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Just Dana, do your thing and declare Nate Diaz the number one contender, even though he hasn't fought in God knows how long.
Declare Nate Diaz number one contender?
Yeah, exactly, because he says George needs to fight a number one contender.
So Nate Diaz, number one contender.
Even though Nate Diaz is pretty much retired right now. So.
Or how about this? How about this, guys? There's one name that he didn't mention.
Who?
El Kukui, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
You guys don't want to see Georges St-Pierre fight Tony Ferguson?
Yeah, why?
I'd like to see that. That'd be a good fight. That's a good fight. It's winnable for both guys. That's a good fight,
It's a good fight, but it's not a money fight for George. Nate is. Conor is. If Khabib beats Conor, Khabib's a money
let's
fight.
say you do a mini tournament in the UFC. George versus Tony, Conor versus Khabib. The winners fight each other.
Like Bellator does? That would be interesting. I like
but
that.
This is like way better. It's on another
No,
level.
but I like that. Yeah, I like that format. That would be awesome.
Nate's a bigger star than Tony.
Of course.
It's about stardom right now.
But can you get Nate? Isn't he going to jail for attacking Clay Guida in a street fight?
No, he might have to finance Nick's defense team.
Boy. The Diaz brothers.
They
you
rock.
can't get them in the octagon for some reason.
But everybody loves them.
Yeah, they're fun. Well, you don't love them. You pronounce them guilty before anything.
Yeah, I know. I did.
Yeah, you did.
But I was still right because the crowd...
No, you weren't right. You're wrong again, AJ. Wrong again. I'll be back with AJ without Fred tomorrow night, live after UFC 225, recapping all the action. Big pay-per-view tomorrow night. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/ringsidereport.net with the .net spelled out, DOTNET. youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Ringsidereport.net is our website. That's our online home. All the info at ringsidereport.net. I'll also be on here tomorrow night at midnight with Johnny North for Wrestling Uncensored. You may ask yourself, how am I on TSN 690 at midnight, yet also live doing a UFC 225 post show? How am I doing two things at once?
I don't know. Tell me.
Don't ask yourself that. It's best not to ask these questions. Maybe there are two of me.
Ooh.
Do I have a twin? Are there two Dave Simons? Wouldn't that be a good reveal at the end?
Sounds like a coast-to-coast
It's been
episode.
two guys the whole time. No, it hasn't. There's just one. I just have magic powers. Follow Fred on Twitter at FreddyMMA. He is an advocate, and he is a good man. Follow Danny Bruck at Dan E. Bruck on Twitter. That's Anthony. And follow me at Dave Simon MMA. RingsideReport.net is our website. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I'll be back tomorrow night for Wrestling Uncensored right here on TSN 690. For Fred, for AJ, for Muscles Marco. Shazam. I'm Dave Simon. Shazam? Why do you say Shazam?
It's a good way to end the show. Shazam!
It's been Ringside Report Radio.